Well, good afternoon, Houston. This is Oscar Hines. Welcome to the Natural Nation Network here on Edge Radio. The Edge Radio Network, 1540 AM, 101.7 FM. We are broadcasting live, and we've got a interesting panel of panelists today. We're going to be talking a little bit more about a technology that is now being introduced, and individuals are so excited about this. I have next to me on my immediate left, Mr. Guy Douglas. Hello, Guy. How are you, sir?
I'm great. How are you?
Man, I am fantastic. I'm excited to learn a little bit about what you are going to be doing with the Scalar Energy Program, and talking to some of the folks here in Houston. And we are going to be joined by some additional panelists here, and really just want to get a little bit of feedback, a little bit of input. We have Bishop Rose. Hello, Bishop Rose. How are you, sir?
I am doing well. Good to be with you today.
Man, it is an absolute pleasure. You've been an iconic figure here in the Houston area for a number of years, so it's great to have you on board.
Thank you.
Excellent. And next to him, the wonderful and talented Bishop Dr. De La Grantes. How are you, sir?
I am supercalifragilisticexpialidociously blessed.
I like that. I was about to have a Mary Poppins flag just now. Man, well, it is great to have you guys here, and this will be a great conversation. So, folks, those of you listening, I want you to connect with us right now. Tell friends that we are live at the Edge Radio studio, and let them know that we're going to be talking about some health-related topics that are really of great importance. So, Guy, once again, want to welcome you in this conversation, and really want to zero in on some of the things that you have been doing in the health space here lately. You had a bit of a health scare in your own career going back a ways. Tell us a little bit about that, and then let's switch gears to talk about what's happening on the health space now.
Well, it depends on which time you're talking about, but most recently, when I say most recently, in the last 7 years, I got hit with a health scare, being told that my PSA, which is for a man, is his prostate numbers.
Yes.
My PSA was up, and telling me that they were advising surgery and so on and so forth. Well, I went and did blood work, and my blood work was miserable. And when I say miserable, there's all kinds of blood panels you can get.
Correct.
You know, CRP, ESRs. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's all kinds of blood panels to get. My blood panel was a mess. My triglycerides were off. My cholesterol was off. My good cholesterol was too low. My bad cholesterol was too high.
Wow.
I mean, I was a mess.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, when that happens, what are the first things that a lot of doctors want to do? They want to start putting you on medication.
Correct.
And for whatever reason, I just had this feeling that's not the direction I wanted to go. So I went into the direction of natural. And I just kind of felt that we have a lot of man-made things on this earth. Mm-hmm. And I just feel like God's already put everything on this earth what we need.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I just went that route of natural. And it was amazing because I've got my before and after copies of my blood work. Mm-hmm. My blood work is perfect. I don't take medication. I don't take anything.
Wow.
And when I say perfect, I mean it was better than it could have ever really been. Blood pressure's great. No problems with PSA. Mm-hmm. Numbers went down. My PSA, anybody who knows anything about numbers and PSA, my PSA numbers were at a 10.
Wow.
When you're above a 4,
you are in trouble. That's prostate-specific antigen test. Yes. And if you are anywhere, as you said, above a 4, you've got an oversized prostate that can cause a lot of trouble.
Right. When they kind of feel, and again, I'm not a doctor, of course, but a lot of times once it's above a 4, they're pretty much telling you, you know, you have cancer, you're on your way. Yeah. Mine was at a 10.9 or something, almost to 11.
Wow.
Last time I did my PSA, which was now about 4 months ago, I do it about every 6 months.
Yes.
It hovers between 0.9 and 1.1.
Wow. So you engaged a natural protocol to really bring all of this in line. And that took us a certain amount of discipline, but technology is changing, and there's some things happening right now that we want to tie into some of this conversation. Now, let me bring you two gentlemen into the mix, and then we'll circle back here. So Bishop, you've clearly seen some health disparities, some challenges, some different things. Give us some sense of what needs the community has, and how we, we'll talk about how we may be able to help. But
Well, certainly it is. I've been around health and wellness for many years, and I have found out through my own experience that one of the things you have to do is learn how to eat right. You've got to learn how to eat right, and then you've got to learn that some exercise is necessary. You understand? Not necessarily is going to be the thing that takes care of all of your situations, but discipline, good supplements could certainly help us.
yes, yes.
Our community, of course, suffers with a lot of hypertension and a lot of diabetes,
Correct.
and so a lot of that has to do with our diet. And as much as good as that soul food is, it may be good to you, but not always good for you.
There you go. You're exactly right. Do you echo those sentiments, Doctor?
I concur wholeheartedly. The planet is replenished now with mucus. That is the real issue. It's a challenge with mucus, challenge with radiation. Everything else falls under that category. Inflammation. Those are the bullet points that we know about in biomagnetics. You cannot have any of these diseases, i.e., like you talked about on the verge of cancer, or that the number 10 you have cancer. I didn't even need to hear the diagnosis. I could tell you were, in all probability, you were stage 4 at that point. So what we know is an alkaline body and disease do not occupy the same space. That's just across the board. No other definitive response needs to be had on that. There's some other issues outside of that, but when it comes to disease, alkalinity is the answer. Mucus is not your friend. And in a nutshell, all of this could be turned around by changing your energy frequency vibration. Change that, and it's the game is over. Don't change that, and you can pile as much meds, as many other vitamins, minerals, and do all the exercising in the world, and you'll still be the bike rider winning awards and dying from a heart attack.
Yes. Now, you just hit on something, Doc, that I think is a really important point. We are now in a very desperate situation in this country, and I just want to tee this up, and then Guy would like you to kind of give us a little bit more. So what's really happened is you will hear people say, well, the EMFs, or what we call electromagnetic frequencies in the air, is not that big of a deal, and that's the downplay. But starting after World War I, going into World War II, they developed radar. And when they developed radar became one of the most insidious effects on the human body, because it was the first time that there was a wide usage of these frequencies that disrupt the electromagnetic field.
Yes.
Now, if you recall, radar was introduced right around, 1918. So that Spanish influenza had some wheels that were put on it because of some of that interference. And then from there, we went to more complex forms of radar. We then went to a lot of different frequencies, including AM. We're on AM FM radio right now. But AM FM radio, that disrupted things. And so today, every one of us that are carrying around one of these devices, that are in front of a computer, that are next to a big screen TV, are basically being bombarded with electromagnetic pollution. And that throws our body off, that puts us in an imbalance, and that actually precipitates diseases. So Guy, obviously you knew about a technology prior, and you were able to cultivate that, and now are the CEO of a corporation that actually works to help people with that issue.
That's correct. You know, it's interesting, and what you're specifically talking about is scalar energy.
Yes.
And here's what's interesting. You know, most people don't even know what scalar energy is. They think it's something that somebody invented, and it isn't. It wasn't invented. It was discovered by a gentleman by the name of Maxwell. But it's, you know, people are really familiar with Tesla, Nikola Tesla,
Yes.
because of the car,
Yes.
more than anything, right? But now they're really starting to learn some of the things that he was doing back in the late 1800s, early 1900s. And he was all about frequencies. He was all about energy. And so basically, you know, I'm hearing all these buzzwords, right? Doctor, just a minute ago, you know, used the terminology, he was talking about inflammation, right? Chronic inflammation, again, I may not be a doctor, but I sure have learned an awful lot about health. And one of the things that I've learned is that I don't care what you have. I don't care if you've got diabetes. I don't care if you got high blood pressure. I don't care if you got heart problem. I don't care if you got cancer. If you have anything, your body had something else first.
Yes.
And what it had first was chronic inflammation
Yes.
somewhere.
Absolutely.
Okay? And so here's the problem. When you go get a blood test, which is known as a CRP, which is a C-reactive protein, it's got to do with your heart and all that, but it measures your inflammation. But the bottom line is, you've got to be able to control your inflammation. If you can do that, now again, there's no guarantees in this world, right? But I'll tell you what, you got a better shot at not getting one of those problems
Yeah.
if you can control your inflammation.
No, Doc, I was going to call you Doc, but you're because you're talking, you're speaking absolute 100% truth. You know, there is a camera called a thermography camera, thermograph. And when you get a thermograph, it's kind of like, if you guys remember Predator, you know, the heat
Right.
sensitive, you know, you can see inflammation in the body. And sensitive thermographic cameras can pick up inflammation 6 or 7 years before a woman gets breast cancer. So what you're talking about as it relates to cancer is something that is very, very specific to inflammation, where it starts first.
Right.
So this scalar energy you're talking about, it reduces this inflammation?
It very well can. So just to give an idea of what scalar energy does. First of all, our body, everybody's body, if you're alive, you have an electrical charge in your body. Now, the healthy electrical charge in the body is anywhere from 70 to 90 millivolts. Okay. Now, when people get sick, and I'm not talking about necessarily cancer, because then it's really bad, but I'm talking, they get the flu. They get the coronavirus that everybody's talking about, right? Your millivolts are lower than 70 to 90 millivolts. Okay, you start getting lower. Now, one of the things that's interesting is cancer, from what I've researched, and I keep coming back to the same thing, is that cancer can't survive in a body that's between 70 to 90 millivolts. What I did learn is that cancer loves anywhere from 20 to 30 millivolts.
The low frequency.
And it gets that lower frequency, and what happens is it thrives in it, right? So again, if you can keep that charge up, so what scalar energy does is, if you think about your cells in your body as a little battery, right? Scalar energy charges those cells. Now, what's interesting about it is, it charges it instantly. It doesn't take a week or 2 weeks or anything like that. You take a scalar energy product that we have, which most of them are wristbands and things like that. You put that on your body. It charges your body instantly. And one of the things that's been a lot of fun is, you mentioned about the different tests and so on with the thermal photograph. But we have some photographs of someone's actual blood, okay, where we had it. When I said we took the picture of the blood, we had a microscopist draw blood, but we'll take a drop of blood, put it underneath the microscope, And the microscopist looking at it and saying, this is clumping. This is not healthy blood. We use scalar energy on that same person for 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
5 minutes. And when we put that, we prick the same finger, all of a sudden the microscopist was blown away and said, look at this blood, it's healthy blood.
Wow.
Before, to get an idea what it looks like, is the unhealthy clumping was, imagine taking a bunch of pancakes and standing them up and squishing them together. And you can see that there's pancakes, but they're all sandwiched together.
Right.
That's clumping.
Wow.
Then imagine taking those cells and that pancake, laying it flat, and now you see distance between them and they're bouncing off of each other. That's
Wow.
healthy blood.
Wow. You know, that's fascinating because it's so important when you think about blood circulation, and maybe Dr. De La Grantes can jump in on this one too, but blood circulation is very important from the standpoint that when you get down to the capillaries and the microcapillaries, you're in a single file with those cells. So if those cells are clumped together like Rice Krispies or pancakes or something, it never gets to those extremities.
Right.
And that'll cause neuropathy and all sorts of stuff. Would you
But there's another thing, and I want the doctor
Yeah.
to emphasize on this. One of the things that people don't realize about blood is the most important thing in your body.
Absolutely.
Because it carries everything throughout your body,
Yes.
whether it's good or bad.
Yeah.
If you put good things in your body, it's gonna transport that all over. You put bad things in your body, it's gonna transport. So no matter, it's the highway throughout your body.
Absolutely.
I know that this is not
Yeah.
a biblical session, but in the Bible,
Yes.
the Bible talks about the life of the flesh is in the blood.
Absolutely.
And so you're 100% correct on that.
That's true. That's true. That's true. That's the soul almost, the life of the ruach, the soul. You didn't think I knew a little Yiddish Hebrew there. Huh? Hey, look, hey man. You know. So what do you say, Doc?
Well, one, we've created a tremendous amount of synergy here on this show. I deeply appreciate not only the invitation, but to be able to share on the platform with all three of you great men. But to hear your consciousness, I'm saluting each and every one of you. Every single thing you said is scientific. There are other applications for it, but it is first and foremost scientific. It's absolutely true.
Yeah.
Now, you guys can't say that necessarily. I can tell you wholeheartedly that you are on point. I heard you the other night, and wherever you were, I started to just slap you. You know, how could you be this informed? How can you be? And then I'm, by the same token, extremely pleased that you are and that you are sharing it with the masses. And I'm looking forward to even having you on our television talk show. Dr. De La Grantes presents Television 360. We're in 186 countries, but what we're doing right now is germane to turning around the phobia that's out there, COVID-19. COVID-19 does not have the power of a common cold. COVID-19, I'll say it again, another way. COVID-19 can't touch inflammation. COVID-19 can't touch pneumonia. And yet we didn't shut the world down with any one of those three. So that ought to tell us that there's something else awry here. And it probably is past time. But for my money, it is right on time that Guy has come. You use your reference, another one of your references, for such a time as this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
You're right on time with this, man.
It's
Absolutely.
great. So Bishop, what have you seen with your congregation and with people in terms of COVID and the concerns? What's been your?
Well, you know, we hear all kind of things in the media. We hear pandemic, we hear scamdemic. There are a segment of people that just don't believe it is what they say it is. There's a segment.
Okay, talk about me then. That's okay.
I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. But I'm just saying, people are dying from something,
And they are.
and they're labeling it COVID-19.
There you go.
And so, I'm always concerned. Right now, we're doing our service virtually. We're not congregating, yet we are still able to reach out and connect with our folks through different means and avenues through technology.
Yes.
But I am concerned where we are. I am concerned what it has done to our economy. And more than that, I'm concerned that the people that's in charge don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, that's true.
There's mixed signals that's coming from the top. And so it would automatically bring some type of confusion among people who's just looking for some direction. So we try to share with our people, be safe, you understand? If you don't have to get out, stay in, but be safe with this here. And here I am, my wife says, but you going out? I say, well, yeah, I'm gonna have my mask, I got my gloves, I'm good.
Right.
And I think it's all about precaution,
Yes.
Yes. I think it's all about precaution, The old folks used to say, an ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. And so, if it's real, good. If it's not real, if you precaution, you're still all right.
There you go.
So that's my take on it.
There you go. Well, you hit on a couple of really important points. So, Guy, when we think about weaponizing our body, because to me, that's the solution. You weaponize your body, and by weaponize your body, I mean a few things. And both Dr. De La Grantes and you brought two very important things up that I want our listeners to really, really hear. And so for those that don't know, I've been a certified health and wellness practitioner, so we're in one of my lanes right now.
And you're very good at it. You're welcome to.
Appreciate that. So there's two things. One is alkalinizing the body, which Dr. De La Grantes brought up. The alkalinization of the body should be right at 7.3. When you are right in that space, your cancer, colds, rhinoviruses, influenza cannot exist in an alkaline environment.
No.
And then, Guy, you said something that is less known. You were talking about the measurement of millivolts, between 70 and 90 millivolts for a person energetically to really be in the wellness space. And then if they go 30, 20 below that, now their body is a receptor for not only pathogens, but cancer and other substantial illnesses, diabetes, high blood pressure, etc. So we have to find ways to both alkalinize ourselves and to get our vibrational frequencies up, because folks, just so you don't think this is just us talking about this thing hypothetically, there's a multimeter. You can get a multimeter at Home Depot and you can measure your millivolts.
Yes.
And you will be able to see that if somebody actually has something like multiple sclerosis, they can be down to 7 or 8 millivolts on that meter versus 70 or 90. If they have cancer, the same thing. So give us some idea how this scalar energy can sort of offset that, and how some of the things we can do to really implement these processes to weaponize our body.
Well, when you ask how it does it, my first answer would be, well, you're going to have to ask God that question. But the reality is, it's like we were talking about earlier with how important the blood is. Scalar energy does so much, right? It helps with the circulation of your blood. Because when we've done those thermal photos, we've noticed that when people are wearing scalar energy, they have more blood flow, okay? And so obviously, scalar energy is doing a lot more than just charging the body. You mentioned earlier about EMFs. There's a lot of products on the market that I've seen and heard of that talk about, hey, put this on your phone, it's going to block this or it's going to block that. Now, they may work. I'm not going to discount them. They may work. I don't know that. There are some that I've tried. They don't seem to work. But the bottom line is, when it comes to the EMFs and scalar energy, we want to be able to block those EMFs, right? And there's all kinds of products on the market that I had somebody come to me one time and said, hey, I bought this thing and I plug it into my house and it takes all the EMFs out of my house, and so I'm not going to be challenged with being exposed to that. Well, then my next question is, what do you do when you leave your house? Do you unplug it and bring it with you?
Yeah, there you go.
And they spent $500 on that thing.
Wow.
Right? And so my bottom line is, I can't find a more economical way to protect ourselves than the way we do it. And we do it by use of two of our main products, which are wristbands that are like I call them. I always refer to them as rubber bands, right? But they're silicone. But they're silicone wristbands. And there's different colors and sizes and so on. But they're charged permanently with scalar energy. Okay. We have chips that are on the phone that they're actually metal. You put them on your phone, and it helps it block those EMFs that are coming. Now, my point is, when you go walk into, say, for example, a Starbucks, what good is that $500 gadget doing you at home?
At home, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So what I want to do is protect myself when I'm out in the environment, right?
Correct.
And so the only way inexpensively, is to do it with the wristbands,
Yes.
right? And we do have people that wear those wristbands on every limb. And when I say every limb, I mean on both arms, on both legs. We have the chips, they wear them on their, they find different ways to put them all over themselves because they've actually experienced something different.
You know, and that's what I guess impressed me with this whole thing, because I do kinesiology, energy movement, that kind of stuff, and it was instantaneous. The balance. Now, I will tell you, I have a pseudo experiment I would love to do, because my balance, like Stevie Ray was bragging, I've got really good balance. Like I could walk tightropes and stuff. But I noticed when I put the scalar on, I definitely had a heightened level of balance. I would love to ride a motorcycle with this thing on and see what kind of, because, you know, hey, look, you know, you can rev it up, and but yeah, you know, so it'd be interesting to see if that helps the equilibrium any. But you were just talking about these electromagnetic frequencies that are all around us, and now, you know, there's all this controversy around 5G and everything else. But we want to make sure people understand this is not just a blocker for electromagnetic frequencies or EMFs. We're also talking about the charge of negative ions, and those who follow me on my social media know that I do something called forest bathing, and the premise comes from ancient China.
That sounds interesting.
It's very good.
Well, you know, it doesn't
It
involve.
does it naked, and I'm telling you, the ladies.
The ladies love it. No, we don't do it naked. It doesn't even involve soap or water. but
So far, I'm not interested.
you lost me at the no soap.
Oh, you lost me at the ladies on
There you go. Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree with that one. You know, if we could get some ladies to forest bathe, let's rock and roll. Man. I'm down with that. Well, it is Friday, right? Well, so the idea though is that you go into the forest and there's these the negative ions start charging your body because all the trees around you and the soil is charged with negative ions. And in addition to that, the phytocenes from the trees, they come down essential oils, help your immune system. So there's all these incredible benefits. But people have been cured from cancer, from all sorts of illnesses, literally by walking in forests, and this thing is getting a reemergence. So talk to us a little bit about the negative ion charges, because it's like walking on the beach. It's like getting.
Well, negative ions, again, that's what makes scalar what it is. And there's different levels of negative ions. And so on that note, what I do want to also preface that with, there's other companies out that I've seen that will say their product has negative ions and it'll say 1,000 negative ions or something like that. Well, one thing we know is Nikola Tesla says that in order for the body to receive health benefits from negative ions, you need to have 2,000 negative ions or more, which is why our wristbands are charged with 3,000 negative ions. Okay. Now, so negative ions in and of themselves are a natural part of the environment.
Occurring phenomenon.
Right.
Yeah.
In fact, the only place that I know where you can get the most, because one of the questions I get asked a lot, can I have too much of these negative ions? Right?
Fair question.
Can I wear too many wristbands? Can I? And here's the answer. I don't know the answer to that question, and here's why. The only place that I know of on Earth right now where I can get the most negative ions is to stand in front of Niagara Falls. That's hundreds of million, probably, well, no, the entire falls, hundreds of billions of negative ions. So if standing at Niagara Falls isn't going to kill me from negative ions, you can't wear enough wristbands. If you have to put enough on, you suffocate maybe.
Yeah,
But that's about it.
no. Well, you know, and that's kind of funny because going back and let's give our audience a little more education on these negative ions, because I remembered reading about these some years ago and was fascinated by it. You can't really get enough. I mean, not enough. You can't really get an overdose, because once you are scaled up, as it were, you know, it's like vitamin C or anything else. It just moves past you and through you.
Right.
But you know, the ancient Egyptians actually knew and implemented this technology, because if you look at ancient pyramids, they are located in energy frequency centers. They are
Yes.
energy fields, and they operate at the magnetic resonance and the harmonic resonance of the earth, which is 7.83 hertz. So what's fascinating to me is that these pyramids had these tunnels that went deep into the ground. Nikolai Tesla discovered this, and it was buried by Edison, who was his employer. But he discovered a way to take what they called 0-point energy, or what we know now as scalar energy, and capture the electrical charge in the air and literally have a light in his hand with nothing attached to it.
That's correct.
Meaning that our power doesn't come from something you plug in the wall. Most people don't realize electricity is dirty coal, right? That's creating the electricity.
Yes.
So the point was that in these ancient tunnels the Egyptians had, they lit these tunnels that were hundreds of feet in the ground. They lit these tunnels by scalar or 0-point energy, and there's no torches or soot marks anywhere in the ancient pyramids.
Not one.
Yeah.
All right.
It's fascinating.
Well, there's actually, on the same note, there's a museum in San Antonio, Texas. They actually have a duplicated coil of scalar energy that Nikola Tesla had, and they will actually in front of you light a light bulb. So you can see it in action today, where they'll take a real light bulb today
Nice.
and they'll light it up. It's not plugged into anything, and it's something to see, because you think it's a magic trick.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and there's no magic to it.
That's right. That's right. Well, what it boiled down to is sort of the industrialists. Let's call them that. The industrialists realized that they could not easily monetize that technology because it would get out of control. So they opted to go with the petroleum and dirty coal industry. As they call it clean coal, which is an oxymoron.
Yeah.
And so they did that, and that is really one of the challenges. So now people have access to this technology.
Absolutely.
Wow, that's fascinating. So gentlemen, just kind of going back and just getting a sense, you all are hearing this largely for the first time, right? What are your thoughts around how people that you know, groups that you know, can benefit from this?
Well, my first thought hearing this here is wondering how many can I get so I can help people, because I really believe, and certainly I have no proof other than what I'm hearing, so I'm certainly looking forward to testing it and seeing how it works. But if all is what you say it is, it's going to be a tremendous blessing for people that can not only live a better life, but possibly even live a longer life.
Yes.
And so I'm anxious, I'm anxious. I came all the way over here to meet you because I'm anxious to put something on my wrist. I keep seeing these wristbands around here, and I'm kind of anxious.
Yes.
Does that sound like I'm anxious?
Well, we definitely want to get that to you, so you can see it for yourself. And you said this, Guy, which is interesting. You're talking about, you've demonstrated this on hundreds of people. I know I demonstrated it since I got one, and I felt a difference. I've probably done 20 people, demonstrated this, and it's been phenomenal how consistent, 100%. And they feel a difference. We can do what we'd call a muscle test or a kinesiology test, and they feel it instantly. Is that
That's exactly right. Your body is made of what? Atoms, right? And so scalar energy takes up all the space around the atoms. So every atom in your body gets basically a coating around it, if you will, of scalar energy. Wow. And so it's an incredible thing when you do it. And what I love when I do the demonstrations is at first people are very skeptical, but then after I do something, do a few things to them, whether it be the balance test or whatever, they'll feel it. And then after they feel it, you see that look on their face. And they're like, wait a minute, then they want to take it off and say, no, let's do it again. Let's do it again. And I'll go, what are you going to do? You're going to try really hard this time? Yes, I'm going to try really hard. So I let them, okay. And I even try to pump them up. Come on, you can do it. You can. And they still can't do it until they put the wristband on. Wow. And they sit there and go, man, this is crazy.
Yeah. That's funny because my son is a bodybuilder and a martial artist, and he's 6'2", he weighs more than I did, and I did the balance test, and he thinks he can outbalance anyone, and it was funny. I tipped him over pretty easily. Once he had the scalar, I could not move him. I could have hung on the kid, and he would not have gone and swung like and it was unbelievable. So he was really, and then he said, he was still skeptical. He said, I adjusted my posture. That's the reason. I said, okay, tough guy. Let's try it again without the scalar. He fell over like a tree. So when it comes to this, people are mystified by what it does, how it does it, and to your point, there are some things that are left to science, but if we're understanding negative ions, we're understanding that we are all electromagnetic creatures and frequencies, and Dr. Delagrante, you've dealt with that. Oh, yes. You've done testing, right, with people to really, even our heartbeats, everything is electrical.
Everything is energy, and energy is everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So everything is, and it doesn't make sense in predominantly, and I can easily say, if you go back 20, 25 years, and in some countries 50 years, but that's a short period of time, it's only in the Western Hemisphere that people keep falling off the dump truck at night, hitting their head and thinking that if it hurts, they should put something chemical in their body that comes out of the laboratory because Big Pharma says, you bumped your head again, here, take these pills. When in fact, you wouldn't do that to your automobiles if you walked outside and they did it, and it did that sound, that sound, ain't gonna crank, ain't gonna crank, ain't gonna crank.
Yeah.
You can't put pills in there, but you can put electricity in that from your good battery. Guy, you had a good battery. I know yours. I don't know about yours, Oscar, but you're riding in Tesla anyway. But if you did that, the energy would transfer, and just like that car would be running, everything is operational in it. And so what we ought to be doing is focus on where you, the company, where you are right now. The whole globe needs to be focused on this. And to your question, kind master, how do we see this maybe panning out with the people? I see this as nouveau, innovative, and the takeover, if you will, of that medical community that espouses synthetics. They can't argue with the negative, or as we like to say it, grounding. When you go to the forest, I have had people with migraines from the medical community. This bishop has been in my office several times, and he's seen people back in there. Sometimes he's been nice enough to say, Dr. Delagrante, you mind if I stay here extra? And I say, and because I love and trust this man, I have told you, I got to go to the meeting at 7 o'clock. Stay as long as you want.
Close the door.
Close the door.
Close the door. Yeah. Wow.
But I have
that's
taken
great.
people outside with migraines. And one physician from MD Anderson, migraines regular, weekly. 3 days he shut down. One of his patients told him about what we do at the Delagrante's Health, Wealth, and Longevity Institute, and he finally came. In one setting, we took him through 3 of of the protocols. But on the fourth one, I thought, let's go back outside, take your shoes off, socks off. And then went outside and just let him ground.
Correct.
Now, not
Yeah,
only
yeah.
did the migraines cease that he came with, and we don't package stuff like that. We have a place to send it. But when he finished, the report back a month later is he still hasn't had a migraine, and his wife is an RN.
Wow.
I'm not going to call his name, at the same hospital, MD Anderson.
Yeah.
She came with him and said, none of this energy stuff it just can't be like that.
Yeah.
And I said, well, why don't you try some while you're here? Oh, I don't want to try anything. She folded her arms and stood back. And I took her husband through the protocols again with biomagnetics. And topped it off with quantum touch. And she said, I was just standing next to him. Why am I feeling something? Everything is energy.
That's right.
Energy is everything.
Yeah.
She
Wow.
said,
Love
I
it.
said, do you want to try it now? She said, well, what time is it? I said, get up, hey, come. And we took her through. And this lady, this RN, became a regular participant. I would say patient, but she's an RN, so she didn't want to be called a patient.
Right. I love it. I love it.
But with this,
Yeah.
I know that the core of people that you're bringing in here, I watched the last show. I mean, Houston's going to be your number one market, clearly. And I don't know.
Well, let's change gears, because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to just take the last few minutes that we have remaining, and I appreciate what you're saying, and I just wanted to put an end cap on that. That there are people that go out and walk barefooted that are getting the negative ions we're talking about. Some people have tied copper to their feet and nailed it into the ground and slept and put a sock on with the copper and seen a similar effect. But let's switch gears. We are right now arguably in the most tenuous situation economically that we've been in the last 100 years. We are in the midst of a recession that is soon to become a depression. We will have people that are in the streets, unemployed, and very angry. There is an opportunity to do two things. One is to help individuals. The other is to be able to generate a very nice income. Can you expound on the business opportunity side of this, guy?
Well, one of the things that we wanted to do was we didn't want to just be a company that says, hey, let's sell a product and make a bunch of money. So we went through a different route, and the route I'll mention. I think of every time I think about it, I think of the Tupperware days. Where people can participate. They love the product. These ladies, they love that Tupperware. They couldn't wait to go tell their friends, and their friends wanted to buy the Tupperware, and they got a chance to make some money, right? And so that's the same thing that we did. And so oftentimes people will ask me about it. The company, we don't make a lot of money doing it. It's really the people that make the money, because they want to participate. Now, we have two kinds of people. We have people that just want product. They say, look, I just want product. I'm an engineer. I don't have time for anything else, whatever the case may be. But we have people that want an additional income. In fact, we have a gentleman right now who's in the Caribbean. And I always say the name of his country wrong, but I believe it's Curacao.
Curacao, yeah.
And
Awesome.
that's where he is. And he works with the unions and so on that's in his country. And he's looking to retire soon. And he got a hold of us and said, I want to be involved in your company because I need a second income so I can retire.
Wow.
And this guy he's only been involved with us for a couple of months. And all I can say is he has kicked some booty in the country of Curacao.
Wow, and that's a small community, relatively speaking, to some groups like where we are here in Houston and Texas.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. Now, but he wants to go all over the place. Like he had to twist my arm when he told me this. He said, but Guy, here's what I want to do. As soon as this pandemic comes to a little bit of an end, he says, we have 8 other islands that are here.
That's right.
That we need to go to. So all I need to know, Guy, are you able to get yourself here to the Caribbean so I can arrange for us to fly for 2 weeks all over these other 8 islands? And it took me about 2 seconds.
There you go.
I said, absolutely.
So let's see. Can I go to a tropical paradise and fly around? And, the only thing you didn't mention is the beautiful women, right?
Well, he didn't have to. He mentioned. I asked him, "Well, can you tell me some of these countries and these islands?" And he went through them. And the first one that came into my mind was when he said Aruba. I said, I need to be in Aruba.
That's right. That's right. That's
I
right.
need to be in Aruba.
Well, I love it. I love it. So there is a business opportunity. There's individuals that, and this is really just being introduced here to the public. So we want to invite individuals. As a matter of fact, there will be an opportunity meeting this evening. Now there are limited seats to this. It's already pretty much booked up. But for a few of you that may be interested, it's going to be at 6464 Savoy Drive. That's right at Hillcroft and 59. And when you come in, I would like you to mention that you saw it here on Edge Radio, and that'll allow for them to let you into the meeting. But I invite you to come out. If you're in that vicinity, want to come out, we will have that. And we're going to be talking really about an expanded business opportunity. I know, Bishop, you've worked with a lot of people that have done quite well. You yourself have done quite well in the space of helping individuals. We're just a minute or two. Give us a little synopsis of kind of, some of your thoughts about this economic freedom that we need to create here.
Well, the great thing about being able to expand someone's vision as it relates to a product that works, and giving them an opportunity through direct marketing or network marketing or whatever you would want to call it. We've seen big teams over the years built. We've seen thousands of people, thousands of customers that have benefited from some of the products that we've introduced. I really think that in this climate, it is being estimated that over 80,000 people in Houston will not have jobs when this is over.
Wow.
And somehow, some way, they're going to have to find a way to make a living.
Yes.
And there are going to be some, I like to call them pioneers, that's going to share the information.
Yes.
And it's going to not only change people's life as far as their health is concerned, but economically it's going to change people's lives. And one of the good things about what we do, sometimes people think about being in business and what it takes to get in business, whether it's a franchise or whatever. The good thing about being in a direct selling business, normally you can get in relatively inexpensive. However, there is no limit to what you can do based on your work ethics. And so, like the gentleman over in that country he was talking about, he got the vision.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
And I dare say that now his plan B, if it has not already, it will succeed his plan A.
Yeah.
And I tell people, when your plan B exceeds your plan A, then you got choices.
Well said. Well said. That's exactly right. You have choices. So it is really time, and I think people more now than ever before have to reclaim their economic independence and recognize the time that we live in. If we could turn the clock back, a lot of people became millionaires. Walt Disney launched Disney in the middle of the Great Depression. There's, if you even look at some of the major corporations, all happened under the Great Depression. Guy, how do people connect? Let's just get that in. How can people connect to learn more about the product?
Well, they can easily go to our website. That'd be the easiest thing. The name of our company is Perfect Health for Life. But there's the number 4, not F-O-R, F-O-U-R, number 4, but it's perfecthealthforlife.com. And there it shows many of our products. We have several products, but it's got our whole line of scalar products that we have. We even have some products for pets.
Oh, nice.
We've seen a huge difference in people that have pets that have some hind leg issues or energy issues because they're getting older, and it's amazing The funny thing is, we actually have people that will buy something for their pet and not for themselves.
That's atypical. Well, we are just about out of time. We are at the top of the